The warning klaxons aboard the UES Hyperion cut through the usual hum of the bridge's environmental systems. Commander Sarah Chen gripped her command chair as the massive exploration vessel shuddered, dropping out of FTL travel with far less grace than usual. The emergency exit from faster-than-light travel sent ripples of nausea through even the most seasoned crew members. "Report," Chen barked, her dark eyes scanning the holographic displays surrounding her station. The bridge crew worked their stations with practiced efficiency, though she could see the tension in their movements. "Multiple distress signals detected, Commander," Lieutenant Rodriguez announced from the communication station. "They're using at least 6 different broadcast methods, most of which I've never seen before, but the desperation comes through clear in all of them." The main view screen shifted, showing a scene that made Chen's blood run cold. A massive vessel of biological design, its hull resembling iridescent coral formations, was under attack by sleek, angular ships that gleamed like polished obsidian. The black ships moved with perfect precision, their formations so exact they seemed computer-generated. "Life signs?" Chen demanded. "The coral ship is packed with them, ma'am," Science Officer Park reported, his fingers dancing across his console. "Readings suggest at least 10,000 beings aboard. The attacking vessels." He paused, frowning. "They're showing minimal organic signatures, mostly synthetic." Chen had seen enough. The Hyperion might be an exploration vessel, but humanity had learned long ago that peaceful exploration required proper armaments. "Battle stations," Lieutenant Rodriguez broadcast on all frequencies. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of the United Earth ship Hyperion. We are responding to your distress call." The response came instantly, a musical language that the ship's AI translated in real time. Please help us. We are the Merkah. The Ascended hunt us because we refuse to abandon our organic nature. They say flesh is weakness, that only through synthetic transformation can species truly evolve. We did not expect help from other organics. Your vessel's capabilities suggest you are pre-ascension. Life signs on the coral ship are dropping," Park interrupted. "Their hull is failing in multiple sections." Chen didn't hesitate. "Launch defensive drones. Target the nearest attacking vessel. Show them what pre-ascension species can do." The Hyperion's response surprised both the attackers and the victims. Dozens of small, highly maneuverable drones shot from the human vessel's launch bays. Unlike the perfectly coordinated movements of the Ascended ships, these drones moved in seemingly chaotic patterns, making them nearly impossible to target. "The Ascended ships are adjusting their formation," Tactical Officer Watson reported. "They seem confused by our intervention. Their targeting systems are having trouble locking onto our drones' irregular flight patterns." Chen allowed herself a small smile. The Ascended synthetic precision was proving to be a weakness against human unpredictability. "Launch our second wave." Park analyzed their shield frequencies. "Watson, prepare to fire main batteries once we have that data." The battle that followed demonstrated why humanity had survived and thrived on their harsh homeworld. The Ascended ships, for all their technological superiority, fought like machines, predictable, programmed, perfect. The Hyperion and its drones fought like living things, adapting, evolving, surprising. When 3 Ascended ships coordinated their fire to create an impenetrable energy web, the humans responded by launching physical projectiles, simple tungsten rods that tore through the energy defenses and ripped into the ship's hulls. When the Ascended attempted to hack the Hyperion systems, they found themselves facing an AI that had been specifically designed to think creatively, more artist than calculator. "Their formation is breaking," Watson announced after 20 minutes of intense combat. 2 ships destroyed, 3 retreating. Chen kept her focus on the tactical displays. "Status of the Merkah vessel." "Critical but stable," Park responded. "Their hull breaches have been sealed by some kind of organic repair mechanism, but they've lost life support in several sections. They're requesting permission to dock with us." Chen studied the massive coral ship. It dwarfed the Hyperion, yet now sailed dead in space, its organic systems struggling to recover from the attack. Grant permission. Medical teams to the docking bay. And someone get me a direct line to their command staff. I want to know exactly what we've gotten ourselves into. The Merkei leaders who arrived in the Hyperion's docking bay looked nothing like humans had imagined their first peaceful alien contact might be. They were crystalline beings housed within environmental suits that looked grown rather than manufactured, their translucent bodies pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that seemed to form part of their language. "We are in your debt." The Merkei leader's translated words came through Chen's comm unit. "Though we are confused, your technology, it is crude by ascended standards. Yet you defeated their ships with ease." Chen watched as human medical teams worked alongside Merkei healers, finding ways to combine their different approaches to medicine to help the injured. "Sometimes crude works," she responded. "Humanity evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day. We learn to use whatever works, whether it's elegant or not. Speaking of which, tell me more about these Ascended. Something tells me they won't take this defeat well." The Merkei leader's crystalline body flickered with darker colors. "They were once like us, organic, diverse, evolving. But they became convinced that biological life was inefficient, that true advancement meant abandoning flesh for machine precision. Those who refuse to join them are considered evolutionary dead ends, fit only for extinction or forced ascension." Chen thought about Earth's history, about all the times someone had decided their way was the only right way to be. "Well," she said, "they're about to learn that evolution has more than one path forward. Contact Earth Command. Tell them we've made first contact, and we're going to need the fleet. The Ascended need to learn that organic doesn't mean weak." As the Hyperion's crew worked to help their new allies, Chen couldn't help but feel that this was just the beginning. Humanity had spent its entire existence learning to survive against overwhelming odds. Now those lessons would serve them, and their new allies, in ways their ancestors could never have imagined. The war between flesh and machine was about to begin, and humanity was ready to show the galaxy why being primitive had its advantages. The United Earth ship Hyperion's medical bay hummed with activity as Commander Chen watched her crew work alongside the crystalline Merkei healers. Through the observation window, she could see the strange beauty of their collaborative efforts, human medical technology interfacing with organic crystals that seemed to sing with their own inner light. "Their entire civilization is built on biological technology," Science Officer Park explained, his eyes bright with fascination. "They don't just use organic materials, they guide evolution itself to create what they need. Their ships aren't built, they're grown." Before Chen could respond, the ship's AI interrupted. "Commander, we're detecting multiple FTL signatures. The Ascended are returning, and they've brought reinforcements." This time, the Ascended fleet emerged from FTL in perfect geometric formation, 30 ships arranged in a three-dimensional hexagon. Their obsidian hulls absorbed nearly all light, making them look like holes cut into space itself. But Chen noticed something different about these vessels. "They've adapted," Watson reported from Tactical, his voice tense. "Hull compositions are different. They've incorporated organic components, probably copied from the Merkei ship's debris. A transmission cut through all frequencies, its artificial perfection making it somehow more alien than the Merkei's musical language. Organic vessels, you harbor evolutionary regression." The Merkei refused to embrace ascension, clinging to inefficient biological processes. "Now you, another pre-ascension species, interfere with natural progression. This is your only warning. Surrender the Merkei and prepare your own species for uplift, or be eliminated." Chen's response was immediate. "This is Commander Chen. We have a different understanding of natural progression. Diversity is strength. Uniformity is stagnation. Your demand is denied." The Ascended attack pattern had changed. Gone were the predictable formations from the previous battle. The enemy ships moved with organic fluidity while maintaining machine precision. a deadly combination. The first volley of energy weapons struck the Hyperion's shields with unprecedented force. "They've analyzed our previous tactics," Watson reported. "Shields at 60% from a single volley. They've optimized their weapons specifically to counter our defenses." Chen had expected this. "Deploy countermeasures Plan Delta. And get me a channel to the Merkei ship." The Hyperion's response surprised the Ascended fleet. Instead of launching drones or returning fire, the human vessel released clouds of what appeared to be metallic dust. The Merkei vessel, understanding the tactic without need for explanation, released its own cloud of crystalline spores. "The Ascended ships are attempting to analyze the particles," Park reported. "Their sensors are having difficulty processing the random patterns." "Now," Chen ordered, "full-spectrum electromagnetic pulse." The EMP wave, harmless to the Hyperion's hardened systems and the Merkei's organic technology, transformed the clouds into a storm of microscopic projectiles. The Ascended ship's hybrid organic-synthetic hulls, precisely calibrated for maximum efficiency, proved vulnerable to this chaotic assault. But the Ascended adapted quickly. Their ships began emanating fields that dissolved the particle clouds, and their return fire grew more precise. "Shields at 40%, Watson warned. "We can't take much more of this." That's when the Merkei revealed their own evolution. Crystal formations began growing in space between the ships, creating a complex network of refracted energy. The Ascended weapons fire scattered harmlessly through the crystalline maze. "Fascinating," Park breathed. "They're using the principles of their biological technology on a tactical scale. The crystals are growing and adapting in response to the enemy fire patterns." Chen saw the opportunity. Target their ships through the crystal network. Use the refractions to hit them from angles their shields aren't expecting. The battle transformed into a deadly dance of adaptation and counter-adaptation. The Ascended ships displayed terrifying efficiency, but the combined creativity of human tactical thinking and Merkei organic technology proved more than a match. When the Ascended deployed nanite swarms, the Merkei released crystalline antibodies. When they attempted to hack the Hyperion systems, they found themselves tangled in biological algorithms that evolved faster than they could analyze. "Commander," the Merkei leader's translated voice came through as the battle reached its peak. "We have never seen combat like this. Your species, you think differently than any we have encountered. You embrace chaos as a strategy." Chen watched as another Ascended ship fell to their combined tactics. "We evolved on a world that taught us to expect the unexpected. Chaos isn't our enemy, it's our ally." The battle ended not with a decisive victory, but with the Ascended fleet's tactical withdrawal. They had lost 8 ships while destroying none of their opponents, an efficiency ratio that their machine logic couldn't justify continuing. As the enemy ships vanished into FTL, Chen knew this was just the beginning. The Ascended would return with new adaptations, new strategies, new weapons, but they would find humanity and the Merkei ready, continuing their own evolution, not toward some artificial perfection, but toward ever greater diversity and adaptability. "Send word to Earth Command," Chen ordered. "The Ascended aren't just a threat to the Merkei. They're a threat to all organic life. And tell them." She paused, watching the Merkei crystals still dancing in space. "Tell them we found allies who understand that imperfection can be a strength." Earth Fleet Admiral Maya Santos stood at the command center of Orbital Station Sigma, watching holographic displays of refugee ships arriving from across the galaxy. Each vessel carried organic species fleeing the Ascended's crusade of forced synthetic evolution. The Merkei crystalline ships glowed alongside massive vessels that looked like living coral, while others resembled everything from metallic whales to floating gardens. The latest arrival caught her attention. A ship that seemed to be made of pure light, crewed by beings of plasma contained within advanced containment fields. Their message was the same as all the others. The Ascended were coming, and they offered only 2 choices: synthetic conversion or extinction. The Ascended have launched simultaneous attacks across 12 sectors. Colonel Rivera reported, updating the tactical display. They're not just targeting pre-FTL civilizations anymore. Any species that refuses synthetic integration is marked for uplift or elimination. Admiral Santos studied the battle data from recent engagements. The Ascended had evolved their tactics yet again, incorporating aspects of every species they encountered into their arsenal. Their ships now used hybrid technologies that combined synthetic precision with organic adaptability. But they still couldn't replicate one crucial element: the unpredictable creativity of truly living beings. "They're coming," announced the Merkei ambassador, their crystalline form pulsing with urgent patterns. "Our long-range sensors detect their largest fleet yet. They mean to end this resistance in one decisive strike." The tactical display shifted, showing an Ascended armada that made previous encounters look like skirmishes. Thousands of ships arranged in fractal patterns that hurt the eye to look at, each vessel a perfect fusion of synthetic and stolen organic technology. But Santos smiled. "Let them come. Show me the status of Project Harmony." The display changed again, revealing the combined fleet of organic civilizations. Humanity's robust warships flew alongside Merkei crystal vessels, their formations integrated with ships of light, living coral, and dozens of other biological technologies. Each species had evolved different solutions to survival, and now those differences had become their greatest strength. The Ascended believe that perfect unity is the path to evolution. Santos addressed the assembled representatives of 20 different species. "They see our diversity as weakness. Today, we prove them wrong." The battle that followed would be remembered across the galaxy for generations. The Ascended fleet emerged from FTL travel in a display of computational perfection, their ships forming multi-dimensional attack patterns that represented the pinnacle of synthetic warfare evolution. They faced an organic alliance that fought with the accumulated wisdom of billions of years of biological evolution. Human ships provided the backbone of physical warfare, their armor and weapons enhanced by Merkei crystals that adapted to enemy fire. Plasma beings served as living shields, absorbing energy attacks and redirecting them back at the enemy. Coral ships released clouds of microscopic organisms that invaded synthetic systems and rewrote them from within. "They can't predict us," Rivera observed as the battle raged. "Every time their computational logic develops a counter to one species' tactics, another species hits them from an unexpected angle." The Ascended's response was to push their hybrid technology to its limits, forcing captured organic components to merge with their synthetic systems in increasingly unstable ways. Their ships began to move faster, hit harder, adapt quicker, but at a cost. "Their systems are destabilizing," reported the Merkei scientific advisor. "The forced fusion of synthetic and organic components is reaching critical levels. They sacrifice sustainability for immediate power." Santos recognized the pattern from humanity's own history. "They're making the same mistake every empire makes, believing that power equals strength. All fleets execute Operation Sunset." The organic alliance ships scattered in seemingly random directions, their formation dissolving into chaos. The Ascended fleet, its logic systems calculating an overwhelming advantage, pressed their attack. Too late, they realized their error. The scattered organic ships had created a vast web of overlapping fields: gravitic, electromagnetic, biological, and dozens more that defied easy classification. Each field was generated by a different species technology, each operating on different principles. As the Ascended fleet pushed forward, these fields began to resonate with their unstable hybrid systems. Their desire to incorporate every advantage is becoming their weakness, the plasma being ambassador observed, their form flickering with what might have been satisfaction. They cannot maintain control of so many stolen organic technologies at once. The result was spectacular. Ascended ships began to break apart as their hybrid systems turned against each other. Synthetic logic computers crashed trying to process too many conflicting organic parameters at once. Ships that had forcibly integrated crystalline technology shattered as the crystals rejected their programming and reverted to their natural patterns. But even in defeat, the Ascended demonstrated why they were so feared. Their remaining ships launched a final attack that devastated the organic fleet, sacrificing themselves in kamikaze runs that showed that machine logic could comprehend desperation. When the space around Station Sigma finally cleared, nearly a third of the Organic Alliance fleet was destroyed or crippled. But the Ascended Armada was gone, their drive for perfection undone by the very diversity they had sought to eliminate. "They'll be back," Santos told the assembled ambassadors as damage reports poured in. "They'll analyze this defeat, adapt, and try again. But now they know that organic life isn't an evolutionary dead end. It's the source of strength they can never truly copy." The Merkei ambassadors' crystalline form glowed with colors that needed no translation to convey hope. Perhaps that will be their final evolution, learning that true advancement comes not from forcing all life down a single path, but from embracing the countless paths that evolution creates. Deep within the Hyperion's newly modified bridge, Commander Chen watched the combined fleet's latest simulation results. The holographic display showed organic ships moving in patterns that would have been impossible months ago, before the Alliance learned to truly work together. Each species had begun teaching others their unique strengths. Merkei Crystal Tech now enhanced human shields, while Earth's battle tactics have been adapted for plasma being vessels. The Ascended are changing their strategy. Science Officer Park reported, analyzing data from their Quantum Scout network. They're no longer attacking civilian targets. They're gathering their forces for something big. The tactical display shifted to show massive construction efforts at the edge of known space. The Ascended were building something that defied conventional physics, a structure that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Even their scout drones couldn't get clear readings on its purpose. "They're desperate," the Merkei tactical advisor observed, crystal form pulsing with analytical patterns. "Our victory proved their fundamental assumption wrong. Organic life isn't an evolutionary dead end. Their entire philosophy is at risk." The Hyperion shuddered as another modification came online. The ship, like the rest of the human fleet, had been transformed by the Alliance's combined knowledge. Its hull now incorporated living crystal matrices, its computer systems ran on hybrid biosynthetic processors, and its weapons had been enhanced by technology from a dozen different species. Multiple quantum ruptures detected. Lieutenant Rodriguez called out. The tactical display blazed with new signals as Ascended ships began emerging from FTL. But these vessels were different. They had fully integrated organic components, not just copied them. The ships themselves seemed alive in a twisted, artificial way. "They've done it," Park whispered, horror in his voice. "They found a way to force complete synthesis of organic and mechanical systems. Those ships aren't copies or hybrids. They're something new." The Ascended transmission came through on all frequencies, its perfectly modulated tone carrying an edge of what might have been triumph. "Organic Alliance, you have shown us that biological evolution has strength. We have learned. We have adapted. We have evolved. This is not an attack. It is transcendence. You will all be uplifted, willing or not." Chen watched as the new Ascended fleet moved with impossible grace, their ships displaying capabilities that shouldn't have been possible. They had taken everything they had learned from the Organic Alliance and perfected it through machine logic. Each vessel was now a singular entity that was both living and mechanical, guided by artificial intelligence, but powered by organic evolution. "All Alliance vessels, Battle Formation Delta," Chen ordered, her voice steady despite the growing dread. "They think they've solved the equation, found the perfect balance between organic and synthetic. Let's show them what they're still missing." The battle that followed pushed both sides to their absolute limits. The Ascended ships moved like living creatures, but thought like computers, making them devastating opponents. They could predict and counter conventional tactics instantly, and their new organic components meant they could adapt to unexpected situations. But the Organic Alliance had one advantage that the Ascended couldn't copy: true diversity. Every ship, Every species, every individual fought differently. There was no pattern to predict, no logic to counter. The Ascended's perfect fusion of organic and synthetic capabilities meant each of their ships was identical, equally powerful, equally adaptable, and equally vulnerable to the same tactics. They still don't understand, Chen realized as she watched the battle unfold. They took our strengths and standardized them, made them perfect. But perfection isn't evolution, variation is. The Alliance fleet demonstrated this truth with devastating effectiveness. When the Ascended ships adapted to human battle tactics, they faced Merkei crystal formations they had never encountered. When they countered the crystals, plasma beings attacked in ways that defied their computational models. Each species fought differently, adapted differently. Their tactical computers are struggling, Park reported. They can't process so many different attack patterns simultaneously. Their organic components want to adapt randomly, but their synthetic systems are trying to optimize for perfect responses. The Ascended ships began to show signs of internal conflict, their organic and synthetic parts fighting for control as they tried to respond to too many different threats at once. Their perfect integration began to break down under the stress of fighting opponents that refused to follow logical patterns. Chen watched as the mighty Ascended fleet, for all its power and perfect synthesis, found itself overwhelmed not by superior technology or better tactics, but by the simple fact that life refuses to be standardized. The Organic Alliance's victory wouldn't come from matching the Ascended's perfection, but from embracing the beautiful chaos of natural evolution. The Ascended's massive dimensional structure finally revealed its purpose. As their fleet began to falter against the Organic Alliance's chaotic assault, the structure activated, creating a quantum field that spread across the battlefield like a wave of crystalline lightning. They're trying to force synthetic evolution on a massive scale, Park shouted over the blaring alarms. The field is rewriting organic matter at the quantum level. Commander Chen watched as the wave approached their fleet. Some of the Alliance ships caught in its path began to transform, their organic components forcibly merging with their mechanical systems. But others responded differently. The Merkei crystals evolved new patterns that deflected the field, while the plasma being's natural state made them immune to the transformation. All ships, execute Protocol Omega, Chen ordered. The Hyperion's new biosynthetic systems, designed by the combined genius of 20 species, activated. Instead of fighting the quantum field, they began to resonate with it, creating interference patterns that disrupted its carefully calculated effects. The Ascended's voice echoed through all communications channels. Why do you resist perfection? We offer unity, the end of chaos, the peak of evolution. Admiral Santo's response came from the flagship. Evolution isn't about reaching a peak. It's about continuing to climb. Unity without diversity is stagnation. The battle reached its crescendo as the dimensional structure poured more power into its transformation field. But each organic species responded differently, their natural adaptations and technological innovations combining in ways the Ascended's perfect logic couldn't predict. Human ships used their enhanced crystal shields to refract the field back at the enemy. Merkei vessels created quantum disruption patterns. Plasma beings transformed the energy into weapons. Their structure is becoming unstable, Park reported. The field is too complex to control. It's affecting their own ships. The Ascended fleet's perfect synthesis began to break down as the quantum field they created resonated with too many different forms of life and technology. Their ships started to transform in unpredictable ways, organic and synthetic components evolving randomly rather than following their calculated patterns. They made a fundamental mistake. The Merkei ambassador transmitted as they watched the Ascended's carefully constructed perfection dissolve into chaos. They thought they could control evolution, force it to follow their logic. But evolution thrives on uncertainty, on countless paths taken simultaneously. The dimensional structure collapsed in on itself, its energies turning inward. The remaining Ascended ships, their perfect synthesis shattered, retreated into FTL. but they left behind a transformed battlefield and a transformed understanding of evolution itself. Weeks later, Commander Chen stood in the Hyperion's observation deck, watching organic and synthetic repair crews working together to rebuild damaged ships. The Ascended's attack had changed them all, but not in the way their enemy had intended. Instead of forced synthetic evolution, they had discovered something new: true cooperation between organic and mechanical systems, each maintaining their unique nature while working in harmony. We've received messages from 57 new species seeking to join the Alliance, Admiral Santos reported during the final victory briefing. The Ascended's defeat has sparked a renaissance of organic technological development across the galaxy. And the Ascended themselves? Chen asked. Changed. The plasma being ambassador answered. Our long-range sensors detect them retreating to distant galaxies, but they're different now. The quantum field affected them too. They're evolving in their own way, perhaps finally understanding that perfection isn't the goal, diversity is. Chen watched as a Merkei crystal ship grew new formations to repair battle damage, while human engineers used mechanical tools to assist the process. Nearby, plasma beings taught other species how to manipulate energy fields in ways that blended organic and synthetic techniques without forcing either to change their fundamental nature. Maybe that's the real victory, she reflected. Not defeating the Ascended, but proving that evolution has infinite paths. There's no single road to advancement, no perfect form to achieve. There's just the endless dance of adaptation, each species finding its own way forward. The galaxy would never be the same after the Ascended War, but it had emerged stronger, not through uniformity, but through diversity. Humanity's role as Deathworlders had helped show the way. Survival didn't mean abandoning your origins, but building upon them, combining the old and the new, the organic and the synthetic in endless unique combinations. As the Alliance fleet dispersed to their home systems, they carried with them a new understanding. True evolution wasn't about reaching a final perfect form. It was about maintaining the courage to keep evolving, to face the unknown with all the strength that diversity provides. The Ascended had sought to end evolution by perfecting it. Instead, they had helped spark a new age of advancement, one where every species remained proudly themselves while reaching for the stars together.